Mystery Baker here, and thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a tutorial dedicated to the beginner, and the reason is I've had a few messages and comments and things, and I can tell there is a lot of my followers oh, I sound so important, who are beginners, and I'm really pleased that I've got those type of people tuning in, because that's who I was trying to reach out to, so that's good news. So I wanted to go through what the experienced caker, decorator already knows, but maybe the novice doesn't. And one of them is how to add to effects of fondant. Add to the effect. And one of the ways is to add, for example, there's some pink hearts here. They're just drying, they're not quite dry, but they're drying. And I'm wanting to add some luster, some sheen. Maybe it's for a cake, maybe it's for a cupcake. But it's just to add some sheen. And sorry, I'm distracted by the wind. We have gale force winds here, and got my candle on, and I'm trying to feel snuggly and warm inside, but really the wind, wow, it's pretty awful out there. One of the things, and one of the products that I use is a rainbow dust. This happens to be pearl white, but you can get different degrees of shade, to pink, to peach, but basically it's a sparkly dust. It's very finely milled. And oh, I've just tapped it and it's went everywhere. Wonderful. Oh dear. But anyway, we'll just crack on. It's very finely milled, and it does add, even to an entire cake, it does add some wonderful sheen. You can buy, I think you can buy an edible spray, and it still has the same effect, but these are more cost effective, and it lasts and lasts. Oh, it will last forever. I know it won't last forever, but it will last a long time, because a little goes a long way. So if I'm wanting to change the look of the fondant to give it a nice sheen, what I tend to do is I use a fluffy brush. This is a paintbrush, and I pop it in the lid, alright? And then I add it to the fondant, which in this instance happens to be a heart. And I'm going to show you its effect. And I'm using circular motions as I do this. This is my technique. My technique. Tap it a little bit off. You don't have to do it this way, I'm just saying how I do it. But and you brush that on until you're complete. Wow. Gosh, that wind. And as you can see, or maybe not, there's a subtle sheen. It hasn't lost its colour, it's still pink, but it has a pearlescent sheen, and it just adds a little bit of magic, maybe to a birthday cake, maybe to a cupcake if you're adding flowers or hearts or anything, or embellishments to the cake. And as you can see, it's so pretty. So that's one way of adding texture. I'm going to go and shut this door because it's banging and I'll be right back. Right, the door's shut. Everything's safe. The garden's being blown around, but I'm back. I've also got some gold rainbow dust, and it's called Metallic Golden Sands. And oops, again, it's very finely milled, and it makes beautiful sheen. It really does. Put some in there. I don't know if it will take on to pink. It was not really the right colour, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm just quickly, just for your benefit, just for you, I'm going to do it in the gold. Now in the UK it's slightly different to overseas, and they do use other glitters, and you can get them in different degrees of thickness. Some of them aren't as finely milled and they're more chunky glitter, and they're lovely for, you know, you get them in the UK as well, and you sprinkle them over your cupcake and it's glorious. But some of them aren't edible, and I won't touch anything that isn't edible on my cakes. I purchased something from a UK store, I won't mention the name, and it looked beautiful. It was a metallic, rusty copper, perfect for Halloween. Speaking of which, it's approaching, isn't it? When I got it home, I opened it and I just thought, this just does not look right, and I went to taste it, and it was just chunks of glitter that you would get in a craft shop. So be careful, make sure it's edible. And I don't know if this is picking up, oops, I hope so, but as you can see, it's got a gold luster, and you can get, as I say, you can get different shades, but be careful if you're ordering maybe on eBay or from abroad. Be careful, because well, I didn't need to be abroad. I was in a UK shop when I purchased, you know, crafting glitter, not cake glitter, in a cake store. Work that out. And it wasn't edible. This is edible. If you were to taste it, it would just dissolve in your mouth like sugar ice, you know, finely powdered sugar, icing sugar. So that's that. Another thing I want to talk about very quickly, I have done on another tutorial, but I want to go through it again because I hope that the beginners are watching, is fondant. When I'm making my models, I use cheaper fondant than I would if I was covering a cake, because the model isn't going to be eaten. Well, I hope not, but you could if you wanted to. I mean, come on, we can all bite the head off a teddy bear, come on. But I use cheaper fondant, so there's a little tip, because it's more cost effective. But another thing, a very important thing, is you can buy flour paste, okay, or it's called gum paste, I believe, in America, and that's perfect for making flowers or elements to your cake, or models like I make my teddy bears and things like that. But it's expensive, and you can buy them in, they're in small containers, packs, and you have to buy them in different colours. The only thing is, if you're making a big project that has maybe 15 colours in it, it's going to be very expensive, isn't it? So what I tend to do is, I tend to use fondant, and I change the consistency by using, I hope this picks up, this was a huge container. You do not need as much as this. You can buy them in small amounts because a little goes a long way. But this is edible Tylose CMC powder, and it's pure, 100% pure. And I mix that into my regular fondant that I would put on the cake, and it changes the consistency. And I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay, so I'm opening these two out. Okay, they're both white. I haven't mixed them with any colour or anything like that. This is, let me just feel. Okay, I know the difference. This is fondant. Fondant is nice and soft and gooey. Okay, can you see? Nice and soft. And it's perfect to cover the cake, and it tastes nice, it's sweet. Okay, and if I was to show you its texture, if I pull it apart, it stretches. Can you see how that did that? It stretched out. So that's the difference. When I add the CMC Tylose powder to the fondant and leave it for a couple of minutes, it changes its texture, okay, and it becomes a lot more difficult to move. It's stiffer, okay? It's the only way I can describe it. But it's absolutely perfect for modelling with, or to make hearts with, because I use that for the heart. Okay, and again, I'll show you the texture. When you pull it apart, whereas the fondant stretched, like gooey stretch, this snaps. Okay, it snaps, and it's perfect. It's a perfect medium to work with when you're modelling or making any elements to your cake, and most cake decorators use it. They can and do use gum paste, flour paste, but again, it's not very cost effective. I can buy the colour gels, add whatever colour, pink for example, to my fondant, and then add the CMC, and then I'm ready to go. It's as simple as that. So it's really important for me just to run through how important it is at changing texture. And yes, you can make elements without adding CMC, Tylose powder. I am not suggesting for 1 second you can't. But if you're wanting to get to that next level, and you're wanting it almost like clay, modelling clay, or as close to it, and still remain edible, then this is the way forward, and I do recommend it. So I'm going to just tidy up a little bit, and I'm going to show you how you can change your pink colouring gel, sorry, not pink, but any colouring gel, and change it into paint. I'll be right back. I'm back. So I'm going to show you how to create paint using your gel colours. Excuse me. And so what I've done here is, you don't have to have one of these, please. I've actually stolen this from my daughter who does art at school. But I've put some gel inside here. Okay, inside there. Alright. And I'm going to create paint from the gel. That's why I love gels, because they're so versatile. You can buy airbrush paint, which is Americolour do a brand, and it's excellent. It is good stuff. So check that out as well. But I'm just saying how to utilise and change the texture of your gel, because this is all about texture. And I'm going to change it to paint. And what I use, I'm not an alcoholic. I use vodka. And the reason for that is, if I was to add water to this, it would make the fondant very, very wet. But the alcohol evaporates, and that's why it's excellent as a mixing medium for your gel. So I'm going to make planks. Let's just pretend this is going to be a happy birthday sign, and I want to make it with like a wood effect. So, and then I'm going to paint it to show you how. So I'm doing a little tutorial. Okay. So I get my scribing tool. Alright? Perfect. I'm going to create planks. Now you can do this really, really expertly. And use a ruler. Me, for today, I'm not. So I've drawn some lines, and I'm just going to go back again and go back in just to emphasize them. And then with the scribing tool, I'm going to create along the plank lines. Okay, I've actually got a tutorial how to make a wood effect cake board out of fondant. Check it out, it's really effective, and it's the same principle exactly. And then I'm just making indentations along each plank like so. Okay, and this is going to be like a wooden sign. You could write the age on here, or the birthday boy or girl's name. You could make it stand up like a like a sign with a post in the back, or you could rest it against the cake at the front. Your options are open. But again, I'm just adding texture. Going again back into those plank lines, and then every now and then just a hole to represent aged wood with the nails knocked out. Okay. So I bring over my gel, I bring over my vodka, and please, before you say it, I haven't drank all that. It's purely for cakes. And I add, I don't know if this is picking up, but I put some in the cap, like that. Cheers! No, and you put it in to the container, and I've got a brush, hello, and I'm just going to mix that through. Okay, yay, see? And then I'm going to add it to my planks. Are we ready? And what happens, try not to drag it. If you feel it's running out of paint or running out, do not go back and forwards, because you'll lift it. And I'm going in like so. It's quite therapeutic. I feel like I'm at school. Okay, like that. Okay, and yeah, and then if I want to darken it up, I go back into my gel, put a bit more of the brown in. This is getting empty. I need more. I need to go to the craft shop. I won't be going to the craft shop that sells craft glitter in a cake shop, that's for sure. Okay, and I'm mixing that thoroughly in. And then we're going to go back to it, and then where the lines are, I'm just going to add some more depth and dimension into those, and maybe on the ends, like so. And that's how you basically can paint things. And it doesn't have to be wood, it doesn't have to be brown. I'm just showing you what you can do. Like so. You can add a little black in there if you want. But as you can see, do I have to pick it up? Possibly. As you can see, it creates a wood effect. Like so. And it's very effective. So there's that. I'm just going to clear this up now and I'll be right back. Oh, I'm all messy. Okay. Finally. Do you remember the CMC that we were talking about? And it's the powder that we were using to change the consistency of the fondants and to make it more like a modelling clay. Well, it's so versatile, this stuff, because it also makes the most amazing edible glue. So what I've got in here is some sterilised water. You don't have to sterilise it. I just do, and all I do is boil the kettle. And I pour some in and let it cool to room temperature. And here we have it. And I've put a small amount here of Tylor's powder, CMC powder, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to add half of that into the mix. And then with a brush, we're going to give it a stir. Now it appears to be not dissolving, and it appears to sit on the top, and that's fine, that's normal. Don't panic, but give it a good mix, a good 10 to 20 seconds, like that. Okay, and that's it. And what you can do then is, although there's still amounts there that are sat on the top, it won't stay like that, it will dissolve, and it'll become a glue. So I put cling film over the top, or if I have a lid, I would put a lid on. I don't, but I put cling film or cling wrap on the top, and I put it in the fridge for half an hour maximum. And you're ready to go. You're ready to rumble. It will adhere anything. A lot of people use water, and I do for certain projects. Especially for small details, I might add water to the fondant to stick another piece of fondant onto it. But if I'm making models or anything large, this stuff, oh, it's the bomb.com. It's the best. So that's how versatile. You're basically changing the consistency yet again, and it is able to do another thing, and I just love that. I love the versatility of it. Then not only will it change your fondant, I think it just does something to the molecular structure of it. I don't know, it's all science, but thank God for science, because it does a great job in changing the fondant to clay. But then it's also great because you can use it for your glue. So once you've made your elements out of the CNC, you can glue them on with the CNC. How good is that? So I've run through a little bit tonight, just to run through different ways of adding texture. And it doesn't necessarily mean buying anything extra that you might need. You've already got it. You've got your CNC, you've got your colour gels, which is great for everything. Buttercreams, cake batter, it'll change the colour of the cake batter, it'll change the colour of your fondant, but it'll also turn, oh, I've dropped a brush. But that that colouring gel, Sugar Flare, will change the consistency, and you can create paint, and you can paint with it. How versatile is that? I just think it's marvellous. And obviously your luster dusts. Edible luster dusts, please. Please be careful. But these are rainbow dust. This is pearl white. There was one, I've run out. Oh, I love it. I will try and find the name of it, but that had it had not just white in it, it had blue, pink and lilac. It was just iridescent. It had all the colours of the rainbow in it. I just love that, but very subtle. It didn't change the colour of the fondant. It just give the fondant such beautiful sheen. Well, thank you for watching. If there's any questions about anything else, or a question about what else you would like me to show you, this is for the beginner, as I've said. And obviously, if you're not a beginner, this is not for you. I understand that. But oh, my lights have just dimmed. Ooh, it's Halloween is coming. Okay, thanks for your time, and I'll be back soon with some Christmas. Yes, that's right. I know it's Halloween coming up, but I'm not big on Halloween anymore. My children are getting a little bit older. Well, children, one of them's 22. But they're getting a little bit past that now, so I'm focusing on Christmas because it's a time and period that is really magical to me, and I'll be doing some lovely tutorials on how to make some Christmas models, and I'll be doing some baking as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye!